So this report, which is based on 6 million documents, CIA documents, makes some really sweeping assertions about the CIA interrogation and detention program. It says that the treatment of al-Qaeda detainees was far more brutal than universally understood, than the CIA has described. And it says that it describes what most people would consider to be torture. And it says that the torture didn't work, that it didn't produce unique life-saving intelligence that stopped terrorist plots. This is a conclusion that's hotly disputed by the CIA officials who ran the program then, and even CIA officials now, who don't necessarily endorse the techniques, but say, yeah, we did get some information out of it. In fact, they say information led to Osama bin Laden as a result of this program. Now, the report flatly refutes that and says, no, we've looked at CIA records and we think the information came from elsewhere. It didn't come from these detainees who were subject to the harsh treatment. Basically, it's the techniques that we already knew about, waterboarding, except now we have a description of how these techniques were carried out. There was a set of rules imposed by the Justice Department about how they were supposed to be carried out, but in practice they were carried out far more differently. For example, waterboarding, a cloth is supposed to be held over the detainee, it's supposed to be very regimented, but in fact in 2 cases they were just gushing water onto the detainee, and people who witnessed it called it near drowning, and the detainee was vomiting and choking, and so there was a physical impact from it. In other cases, a detainee was confined to a box that was a cube squared for prolonged periods. There were sleep deprivation, which experts say can be one of the most brutal tortures. Extended periods of sleep deprivation for weeks and weeks on detainees. The point of it was to conduct oversight. I mean, this is the first official public accounting of this major chapter in American history. I mean, we knew a lot of stuff from leaks and from piecemeal government reports, but this is the first comprehensive report where investigators looked at millions of documents, looked at everything regarding the program. Now, one thing they weren't able to do, though, is interview participants, because they chose not to do that. There was a complication, there was a criminal investigation, they couldn't interview people, and that's been a criticism of this report, that hey, you didn't interview the actual people involved. But they did have transcripts of interviews that were done by other CIA investigators, and they had millions, they had emails and chats and cables and things to draw on.